Hi, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your May 1st to the 15th, 2021 reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Scorpio. May 1st to the 15th, 2021, Scorpio. May 1st to the 15th, 2021, Scorpio. May 1st to the 15th, 2021, Scorpio. Angels and spirit guides. Oh, okay. There we go. Just falls right out. Show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Now, the left-hand side is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what has to be said. We have the sun. We start off with the sun, always a good sign. We then have fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. A strong link here with Sagittarius energy. Time frame is November 22nd to December 21st. A very strong link if we're born on the cusp with Sagittarius or if we have Sagittarius within our chart. And then we have the 10 of Pentacles, which is another absolutely fantastic sign. It's prosperity that lasts for generations. It's also wisdom, ancient wisdom coming forward. We have the 5 of Swords, the King of Swords, which is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. If you're born on the cusp with Libra, this part of your personality is coming out very strongly. But during this time, we are really embracing the role of kings. The sacred masculine is going to be coming out more within us. We have the 5 of Wands, so the repeat of the number 5 shows freedom. It also shows things being resolved more quickly than we would expect. And then we're rooted with the Devil, which is, of course, Capricorn energy, time frame December 22nd to January 19th. And this energy, of course, can be chained to things that we don't want. It can be addictions, it can be fears and doubts and disabilities and hurts and pains that have just been with us and made us think we can't when we can, when there is a way forward. There is always a way forward. We have the 8 of Wands. This is change sweeping us up. So in the public arena, we're crowned by change. We have the Knight of Wands. So the Knight comes through. It's the defender, of course, of the kings. But it's also a sense of being a bit more rash and a bit more brash. So during this time, we can meet somebody with really great ideas. We get really swept up. They don't have any substance. It's just going to be a sense of, I need to do this, but it's not going to be a how. It's going to be the difference between being able to accomplish something and do it quite well, than being able to just kind of like have this momentum, have this drive forward, and not being able to complete the task. So just be mindful of that. We have the Queen of Swords, which is beautiful. Whenever I have the King and the Queen of the same suit from the same deck, it's a soulmate connection, a true love connection. There's passion here. There's beauty. There's also a sense of knowledge. So this is a time where we embrace that knowledge. We embrace that understanding. We're not going to be taken as fools. This is also the warrior, king and queen, the king and queen of swords. It's like, I am the warrior. I am the one who can do this. I am the one who can move forward. The queen is crowned with butterflies. The king has the butterflies on his throne. There's a real sense here, and so does the queen. There's a real sense here of transformation through knowledge, through greater understanding, through seeing things not as we would like them to be, but as they are. And then we have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy, time frame June 21st to July 22nd. And this is a sense of being able to be fierce, to move forward towards our blessings, to see the subconscious and the conscious sides of ourselves, and being able to claim who we are, what we want, what we desire from life. Now, let's look at the chakra energy for this time. Scorpio, May 1st to the 15th, 2021, Scorpio. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Okay, these two. We have dreams, which is the third eye chakra coming forward. Now, this is going to be the place where we are a little bit more vulnerable, where we have to pay attention to our dreams. We have to pay attention to our dreams. And then we have communication. So let's hold these up together. Dreams and communication, the third eye chakra and the throat chakra. There is a real sense here of opening up our insight, opening up our desire, opening up our greater understanding to what we want and who we are and where we want to be. There's a lot that comes to us through our dreams. We're not just going to be communicating on one very kind of forthright level. There's going to be a myriad of ways that we communicate with ourselves, that we communicate with our angels and our spirit guides, the way that we communicate with others. We're not just going to be taking things, again, at face value. Oh, okay, you said this, that's what you meant. No, we're going to dive deeper. We're going to look at the emotions behind it, the setting, around it, the everything, the facial expressions, the tone, everything's going to be taken into consideration. Also, the aura, the way the person makes you feel when you are around them. And so there's a lot of things that we are taking in that isn't going to be seen or maybe even understood with the naked eye, with just the straightforward self. So this is a time that can be very complex, but because Scorpio, we're so good at that complexity, we're so good at the in-betweens. I really always see Scorpios as being in the in-betweens of things. We are a part of this world, but also the spirit world. We are a part of the answers, but we also have so many questions. So we are the formulators and the pushers of the questions. There's so much here that is intense, that is overpowering, that is beautiful, and yet so easily overlooked because it's not going to be conformatory. Is that a word? It should be one. It's not going to conform. So here, during this time, we're not conforming. We're not looking at things the same way as everybody else. And so we need to embrace our sacred space. Now, whether that sacred space be in meditation, in prayer, in however we connect with the divine, whether that sacred space be in going for walks, but there's going to be a need to embrace the soul more and more, to embrace the self more and more. And then it leads us. And remember, it's not going to be in an egotistical way. So you might think, oh my gosh, I'm just going to be all about the ego here. No, there's a real sense, especially in the heart. It's like, I'm done with nonsense. I don't want it anymore. I would rather have, a handful or even one or two of really good friends, of people who stand by me, than surrounded by people who wouldn't care, who wouldn't even know if there was something wrong. There's a sense of quality over quantity, and that's going to be really important. Now let's see the energy we should be mindful of. What is the energy that Scorpio should be mindful of? May 1st to the 15th, 2021, Scorpio. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Ooh, okay, so a bit came out. But it seems to be the way of things during this time. A bit comes out. It's a bit more than we anticipated. It's a bit more than we wanted. And it's like, oh, now we have the Queen of Swords. I knew, okay, we have Temperance, yes, and we have the Queen of Cups, which is the only one who isn't represented in the tarot itself, like in the main reading. But of course, it has to represent us. So there's complexity here. Why? Because our hearts and our minds can get in our own way. We can be sitting there and trying to be so connected with everybody else that we lose the connection to ourselves. So concerned about offending that we wind up just forgetting about who we are, where we want to be, how we want to move forward. This is also going to be a time where, because we have that energy around us, the words of others have such an impact. And this is dealing with a person who's really good with words and snide remarks. It can also be that person who gives a compliment and who takes away that compliment all in the same breath. So you never know where you stand with them. This is going to be a time where you see yourself, because you're able to match. What's really cool about this is you're able to match everything step for step. You're nobody's slouch during this time. So there's a real sense of, well, okay, you're going to dismiss me, I can dismiss you. But we have to be very mindful, because this can put us into a place of tit for tat. You're going to do this, I'm going to do that. You're going to do just this much, well, I'm going to do just this much. And it can be a really negative place, because we're always scorekeeping. And this is going to be a time also where we can find, okay, I'm dealing with this person. I know your game. I can play that game. I'm not going to. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. The Sagittarius energy here that comes up, the Temperance, which here is called Freyalt because this is the Druid Craft deck, is the sense of wanting to bring everybody together. There is a person, and it can be at work, it can be at home, like we want to bring everybody together, or they want to bring everybody together. But we have this real sense of harmony being so important during this time. Harmony is important anyway, but there is an amplification of it during this time. It's like a way towards prosperity, and it is a way towards prosperity for us. But what we're going to see here is that if we're all kind of lump summed together, and it's like, oh, okay, this is just that, and this is how all people have to act to all these people, and all this and all that, and it's like, oh my goodness. And you're going to find here that the individual voice is forgotten. The individual self is forgotten. And we just become part of a group that makes us feel like cattle. And that's going to be something that, Scorpio, that's something that we rebel against instantaneously anyway. It's like I'd rather be by myself than lumped with people that I don't want to stand next to. So just knowing that is going to be important. The power of our own voice, the power of our own prosperity, and also knowing that our emotional understanding and our emotional way of being can get in our own way during this time. It's a part of being a water sign energy, which is rather empathic. It doesn't always have to be empathic, and you can very well know water sign energies who aren't. But there is a real sense here. Oh, and this also signifies the Chariot energy, the Cancer energy that's within this reading. So everything correlates back to the main whole. What we're going to see here is we're going to see ourselves saying, I need to rule with the heart and with the mind. I need to know that this is emotionally right for me, but I also need to know that this is logically right for me, mentally right for me, that this opens up the doors to what I need. And there's a real sense here of we can really get in our own way during this time, overthinking, overanalyzing, trying to be so good that we bend ourselves in half for everybody else, and then there's nothing left for us. And that's going to be the thing that we really have to be mindful of. We have ourselves crowned with the sun. The sun is happiness. The sun is the exuberant joy of a child. It is the sense of I can do anything, I can accomplish anything, I can go anywhere. And what's very interesting is that it's met with opposition. We have things from our past starting to come forward that say, you can't. You're not going to be able to do this. You're going to deal with a person who's either a person from your past or a person so similar to somebody from your past that it almost feels like you can interchange their names. And excuse me. And it's so interesting when that happens. It's like, wow, I thought I was done with people like you in my life, And now there's a sense of my radiance gets to shine. And you don't get to take that away. Because it's been enough. It's been enough of silencing ourselves. It's been enough of trying to do everything so right that the person who is hurt is us. And the person who is taken advantage of is us. So the sun needs to shine. We need to embrace our talents, our beauty, our understanding, the coming together of our voice, the balancing of what we need and what we want and who we are. And it leads us then to the King of Wands. Now, again, there's a very strong sacred masculine energy here. Even the Queen of Swords has a more masculine air to her. So that's really, really cool. So the sacred masculine is important. It's also seen within the sun. The sun can be seen as masculine, the moon as feminine. So during this time, we have that tendency of, I'm going to be seen. And it's not going to be a conscious thing, though for some of us it may be. It's going to be a way that says, what I do is right. And I'm not going to shrink away. In this moment, I am doing the very best I can. And I'm not going to hide. Now, the king, it's very interesting because we're just going to pick both of these up because they're in the same line here. The king has the closed Ouroboros. So the Ouroboros is the serpent eating his own tail. The knight does not. The knight is completely open. Now, the pages are closed and are open. So there's a sense of complete understanding, power, knowledge, this sense of I eat my own tail. I devour the knowledge that I accumulate to turn into the wisdom for which I live by, to turn into the way that I make my decisions, the moral guidance for which I move myself forward in, and the understanding that builds with me. When I don't have this, yes, I'm not leading to my own destruction, because the constant consuming of the self to be reborn into the self that we are supposed to be, which is very much indicative of the death card, which we are born under, okay? Here, we're not doing it. We're living as maybe we would say, quote unquote, normal people live who aren't on this journey, okay? This sense of I get to just be. And anything I am, anything I do, everything I try, it just is. And it has no consequence. It has no way of feeding into the knowledge and the ideas and the understanding that is me. And that's going to be something that we need to combat, because it's going to be a part of us that fights. The part of us that fights is not concerned about the eternal well-being of ourselves. It might be at this moment we think, oh, but I am. But if we looked at it and we stepped back, we said, there's a smarter way. There is going to be a lot of times a smarter way than combatants, okay? But there are going to be times here where we do need to charge forward and hold on to our voice, to hold on to who we are, and embrace that. The King of Wands shows us that there is passion, there is transformation, there is determination, there is focus, and there is insight. And there is a sense here of, again, being on stage, being seen. The kings I see as the actors on the stage, the queens, the directors behind the scenes. So we're looking out into our creative aspect of self, into the understanding of who we are and where we want to be and how we want to move forward and what it is that we desire. And there's a huge need because we're looking at that passion, that reason for getting out of bed in the morning. And it brings us to temperance. It brings us to balance. We need the balance. There's going to be so much that we don't have the balance to during this time. We can't change it. We can't even fix it all the time. We have to just acknowledge it and then move forward, move towards who we are, where we want to be, what we desire in life. There are some things where the hardship comes in. Life gets hard and life gets messy and life gets real. And we can't change that. What we can and do have control over, to a certain extent, is ourselves and the balance that we call forward. The way that we look at our lives and say, I can harmonize this. The way we look at ourselves and say, am I letting joy in? Am I letting beauty in to my understanding, to my existence, to who I am, to where I want to be? Am I opening up that door? Because temperance brings forward balance, the balance of work and play, the balance of the conscious and the subconscious. And why the balance of work and play is so important is because if we're super stressed out, we don't play. We don't. We can even be that we get annoyed with the idea of play, because it's the idea of taking time out from our immensely busy schedule to do something that we see as worthless. But that's the wrong idea. Play is so worthwhile. You cannot play if you do not think yourself safe, if you do not have this sense of security around you. So there's a need here to have the balances within our life, to also call people forward. This is a time where we need to connect. As much as we stand alone, as much as we look at things and gain a greater understanding and mull things over in our own heads, we need to have those few people that we connect to. If not those people that we connect to in the waking world, then we need to have those people who we connect with in our spiritual existence, meaning that we can connect through meditation to our angels, to our spirit guides. We can connect to journaling our past self with our present self and our way of working through complex problems, but also feeling like I had a release. I was able to let it go. And then we can burn it if we don't want to keep the nasty negative pages in a journal anywhere. There's a sense here with temperance of finding that balance and embracing that balance. And it leads us then to the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is wealth that lasts for generations. The Ten of Pentacles is the door opening. And us seeing things more openly, more honestly, and more truthfully for ourselves. There's this real sense of ancient and sacred knowledge coming forward. Now, it can be the ancient sacred knowledge of the Ouroboros, of the serpent eating its own tail, of this sense that, yes, I am devouring myself, but I am also learning along the way, and nothing lasts forever. There's a sense here of prosperity that lasts for generations, and it does not mean that we have to have an inheritance for our kids, or if we don't have kids, that we, have to get some real soon. What it means is that we get to have this sense of my impact on this earth spreads to more than just my immediate household. My impact on this earth spreads to the people that I talk with during the day, spreads to the connections that I have within my life. And there's a real sense here of wealth, of a completion of a cycle. Now, personally, this seems like a goal is met. Something is met here that leads us to understanding our passion more, to understanding our trajectory forward within our career, to understanding what we desire within our life, what we don't desire in our life. There's a sense of wealth. There's a sense of coming together, and there's a sense of insight. It moves us then to our heart, which is crowned with conflict and has conflict in it. The Five of Swords is the sense of, it's just that. It's that sense of, I need to sigh, I need to stop, I need to look at things, because I've been in this battle before. This isn't my first rodeo. This isn't the first time I've seen this. This is a sense of, I've been there before. I don't want to go back there again. This isn't enjoyable for me. This circumstance isn't what I wanted or imagined or even, desired in any way, shape, or form. But I'm back here. And that can be heartbreaking for us, because there's a sense when we finish things as human beings, we want to be done with it. We don't want to be reminded of it again. Now, this could be because we still have pain within our own hearts, within our own souls, within our own minds. Did I handle that wrong? Could I have done better? Yes, we can always do better. That's like, if you want to set yourself unrealistic, super high expectations, then we can always find fault within ourselves. We could always have known more. We could always have been more compassionate. We could always have. But that is terrible. That is a terrible way to live. Here, when we face the Five of Swords, we have the person smirking. Now, this could be us winning, and that could be that smirk on our face where we look at it and it's like, yeah, I won. I did this. I stood here. I was able to get to where I needed to be because I stood strong within me. But we could also be remembering the time where we were disarmed, where the weapons were taken from us. And instead of seeing it as our due, which is what this represents in medieval times, when you fought, right, you had to give your sword to the other. They could not claim it, but that was very, very rare. Swords were astoundingly expensive. And when you dueled, you lost, and you lost big. And this is a time where we could be saying, I've lost big, and I know what that feels like. And I'm going into this now thinking I could lose big again, or, I could be hurt again in a way that leaves a lasting scar. But this is a time where we look at things and say, there's more here. There's more here than meets the eye. There's more than what's coming at face value. I will be armed with wealth and knowledge and weapons to be able to suit me. But I will also be armed with the fact that I'm nobody's fool. And you might say, Dane, I've never been anybody's fool, and that's fair. But there's a sense with the King of Swords, especially accompanied by the Queen of Swords, that this is a time where we are fiercely on point. There's nothing about the swords that is gentle and light and airy. Yes, they represent air signs, and that's rather funny, but that represents the mind. It represents our speech. It represents our way of communication. What this also represents is fierce and powerful presence forward. This could be a fierce intellect. This could be a fierce desire. This can be a sense of absolute tenacity that makes people take note. And this is a time where we say, I'm skilled. And it's not saying I'm skilled to have people ooh and ah over us. It's saying I'm skilled because they're going to know it anyway. This isn't going to be something that we can hide. The King of Swords is the best at wielding the sword, of knowing his knowledge, of saying, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, I am the battle king, and nothing stands in my way. Period. End of discussion. Now, you can argue that the King of Wands, because he does have that fire energy, Aries is within there, Aries is the god of war, that he is the battle king. But no. There's a sense here of passion and logic. There's a sense of, at times, even feeling emotionally as if you're not checking into your emotions as much as you should, because now we're starting to rely on logic. We're starting to say, okay, well, it has to look good on paper and it has to make this sense. It has to make that sense. What we need to be very mindful of is losing that creative heart that is such a part of water sign energies that sets us apart from others. There's a sense here also of not being held back, of saying, I've trained for this. I know what it is that I need. I know what it is that I want, and I move forward in it. We're not going to be as light and airy as we should be. There's a solemnity to this card right now. And so that's why Spirit said with temperance, play is going to be so important. The sense of joy, the sense of letting our light shine, the sense of not apologizing for who we are and what we could have hypothetically have done wrong, even though we tried our best. It's like, yes, to err is to be human. That is a true statement that goes back so far. We're not going to be perfect, but we are going to learn. And it moves us to the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands is conflict for the sake of conflict. It is stress for the sake of stress. Now, we can be and have been in a cycle where there is just stress. There's the unknown, there's uncertainties, and that leads a place of chaos within us. There's also a real sense here of, okay, how do I look at what I want? What arguments am I getting involved in? This is saying be wary of office politics. Be wary of picking sides. There's a real sense of there's going to be a battle for the sake of battle because tensions are running high, and this is going to be a release that could have even started off as play, but moved into something more intense and less fun. It moves us then to the devil. And the devil, you can say the devil's in the details, as people do say. But there's a real sense here of what has marred us in the past coming forward. And us thinking, I'll never be able to. I'll never be able to be seen as anything more than a failure. I'll never be able to be seen as anything more than an addict. I'll never be able to be seen as anything more than a disabled person. And I say that as a disabled person because if you have lived through that stigma of just innately being different, it's hard. It can feel like a curse. And that's what the devil is. The devil, even though it's a corruption of ancient, nature gods and simply gods of chaos, it is a sense of this is what we are to be shameful about. This is what is our hurts and our pains and our disappointments and our weaknesses and, the way that we are tempted off the right path. And it's not that. The devil is very powerful imagery. The story of Satan, when Satan was Lucifer, was that he fell. He fell because he wanted to stand equal to God. And this is a time, like we could be warned here, don't let our pride get the best of us. Don't let a sense of ego overwhelm us, because that will take us, that will pull us down. And it always will. Don't let the I overwhelm the we. But also, this is a time where we can take that to extremes. We can say, okay, I'm only going to focus on the we, not on the me. And that's all well and good. But if we're run dry, if we're empty, if we're running on nothing, who the heck are we going to be helping? Certainly nobody, because we're going to be so stressed out ourselves. The devil shows us that the chains that we are bound to are loose, and we can relieve ourselves from them. Will it be hard? Yeah. For some, harder than for others. But there's a beauty and a power to lead us forward. The Eight of Wands is the sense of change. We're being swept away by change, and we need to embrace that change. It moves us to the Knight of Wands, which is interesting that the Knight of Wands is going in the different direction of the Eight of Wands. We're going to want to kind of fight something. And we're going to want to sit there and say, this isn't my vision, this isn't what I thought, I can't move forward this way, I was looking over here. And this is towards maybe something that's a little bit more creative. It can also be a sense of, looking in one direction and the blessing coming in the other, very much linked together because they're all wands, right? But not always going to be the easiest to be seen. So there's a real sense here of charging forward, of needing to go after things. We also need to be very wary of people who are just too good to be true. They sound too good to be true. There's a sense of, them charging forward, them going after something, and us kind of getting swept along. But again, they don't have the clothes or Boris's. They don't have this sense of devouring themselves for the knowledge that is accumulating and making almost the proper, sacrifices for the power that is embraced during life and within life. And So here, and even this can be a lustful relationship that comes in, and we think, oh my goodness, I was just swept off my feet. This person is so absolutely extraordinary. This gets to be, and then it falls short. So just being mindful of that. The person goes off in this as lustful and, and passionate with other people, not just with us, which if that's a deal breaker, we have to be aware of that. And it leads us to the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is the person who says, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. This is what I accept. This is what I don't accept. The King of Swords says that, but we expect that from a king. The Queen, we might not expect that from. There needs to be this sense of understanding, the sense of communication, the sense of cutting right to the facts and not mincing our words. And there's this real power to us because of it. There's a real power to what we are embracing and developing because this comes forward. If this is a romantic relationship that's blooming or that's evolving, what its basis is honesty. Also, a fierce independence. If I lose my independence, I lose myself, is going to be the feeling around this power. And if I lose my sense of self, what do I bring to the relationship? What do I bring? It's, the romantic relationship, the business relationship, the parent-child relationship or caregiver-child relationship. There's a sense of, I need to know me so that I don't lose me to be what is wanted. It's kind of like when a toddler is demanding, and it's just so much easier to give in than it is to say, no, this isn't what we're doing. We are going to take a nap. We are, not just going to eat, cookies all day long. We're going to do what needs to be done. And there's a power in that. And that's what the King and Queen of Swords brings. It brings the sense of there's a power in what needs to be done. There's a power in knowledge and understanding and communication and saying what I want and what I don't want and where I want to be and where I don't want to be. And so we start to follow that, and we start to see that in all aspects of our relationships, be it work, home, friends, everything. It's like, these are the fears I have. This is how I need to look at myself. This is what I'm working on right now. This is where I want to be. And we start to take these steps because we've spelt them out. And it leads us to the Chariot. It leads us to being able to move forward with ferocity and understanding, also love and compassion as the riddle of self comes forward, the subconscious and the conscious self, the desire and the need for what needs to get done, and the hard work, the sense of, well, this is what I want, but this is what I need aspect comes forward. And we start to see this more and more within us. We start to see ourselves becoming braver. And the charioteer was never going to be, and was never, some poor slum. It just wasn't. It was a person of great rank, of great power. One of the hypothesis around the way Tutankhamun died, King Tut, was that he fell off the back of a chariot. He wasn't going to be riding a chariot if he wasn't somebody important. He was the pharaoh, and one of our most famous ones that is known about. So here, there's a sense of power moving us forward, of being able to take the reins and say, these are the riddles, these are the mysteries, these are the things I don't understand. I don't always understand what's pulling me forward, what's leading me towards more, but I do know I'm in control of it. And I'm heading towards my goals fiercely, passionately, and powerfully. And it leads us then to looking deeper. And what I want to see here is the devil. Please define the devil for Scorpio. Please define the devil for Scorpio. Please define the devil for Scorpio. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. All right, the Ten of Pentacles comes up again. So this is around wealth, which again, the Ten of Pentacles is linked here to the devil. So that makes perfect sense. We have the Page of Wands, which was the, if we have the Queen of Wands show up, now we have everybody. We have the Two of Swords. We have the King of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And we have the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords shows up again. So we're going to have that defined next. So with the Page of Wands, there's a lot that we are learning. There's a lot that we are taking in. A lot is being understood, seen in a different light. We're putting things together that we had never put together, and things are starting to make sense. And also, they can be a little bit complex because of that, because we're looking at the questions, we're looking for the answers, we're, opening up that childlike mentality that the wands does indicate. This can also be a child or connecting with our inner child when it comes to our passion, when it comes to what we desire, because we've always seen things as having two roads, which is very, very logical. We see things as either the conventional or the unconventional. We can see, the path my mother wanted me to take, the path that my father wanted me to take, things like that. And they get compartmentalized within our brain, within ourselves. And so we start to see that there's one way of being and there's another way of being. But we have to pick one. And those roads, they don't work for us. What we're doing here is we're turning inward. We're having our knowledge and our wisdom and our guidance be a part of us, our ferocity be a part of us. And we're starting to see different roads opening up. We're starting to see different ways forward. And it leads us to the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is prosperity. Again, this is just reiterating the sacred masculine energy that is a part of this time. There's a real sense of, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is the power that leads me forward. It's also the earth sign energy over the earth sign energy, a connection with the seeds that are being planted, what is being harvested within our lives, what we desire and want, what we look at with honesty and integrity, what we look at with contempt and maybe even hatred. There is a sense of, where do I want to be? What is it that I desire? What is it that I need? How am I building a prosperous future? Where do I need to focus on for that prosperity? And it leads us to the Five of Swords. Again, there's a sense of meeting with hurts, pains, and disasters, and looking at it and saying, okay, there's going to be a winner and a loser. But there's also a sense of accumulating knowledge, gaining a greater understanding, looking at things openly and honestly for ourselves, and being able to move forward. The Five of Swords has us looking at something that we just don't want to look at. We just don't want to see it again. But it comes again into our lives. And sometimes even that is enough to bring us to our knees. But here it's being victorious. It's taking the weapons and saying, this is what gets to guide me. This is what I live by now. I live by the sword. I live by my wits and my desires and my hopes and my dreams and everything in between. And I get to see me. I also know the pain of having to walk away after a loss. And so there's a humility to me that others do not have. It leads us then to the Ten of Pentacles, and that's a sense of prosperity. That's, again, wealth that lasts for generations. It's a celebration. It's a completion of a job well done. It's a sense of, there's more here than meets the eye. There's a diving deep. And it leads us then to seeing what the Five of Swords is all about for us. What is this conflict of the Five of Swords? What is the conflict of the Five of Swords for Scorpio? What is the conflict of the Five of Swords? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. It's the Lovers, okay? So this is around somebody that we love, somebody who's held our heart in one way or the other. This is also the embracing of the Taoist concept of this and that is true. So the Lovers also holds complexity, differing views, differing ways of moving forward, both people being equally as passionate. And it can be, okay, well, this person has this belief, I have this belief. Are we going to butt heads? Is this going to be the one thing that's going to just keep on defining us forever and ever and ever? There's also a sense of opening up to what we love. Because if we embrace what we love and who we are and what we want and what is intrinsic to us, can another person rip that away? This is going to also be embracing what we love in life and looking at that in an honesty and in a forthrightness that others have ignored. And it brings us then to really seeing what this blessing of the Ten of Pentacles is. What is? Please define the Ten of Pentacles for Scorpio. Please define the Ten of Pentacles for Scorpio. Angels and spirit guides, show them clearly. Guide this reading. It's the Four of Fire, the Four of Wands. The Ten of Pentacles has to do around the home, a sense of prosperity coming together. This is, and they all live happily ever after, which very much the Ten of Pentacles also really brings to the table. There is a sense of a job well done. This could be moving forward within your career. This could be changing careers. This could be buying a house. This could be, moving This can be looking at things and just starting to see life differently and ourselves differently and rejoicing in that. And there's a real sense of power within us that moves us. Now, our spirit animal message. Scorpio, May 1st to the 15th, 2021, Scorpio. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly, guide this reading. It's the call of spirit. Spirit has a plan. During this time, because there is so much in the air, there is so much movement, there is so much change and power, but also blessings that comes forward, we think, well, maybe spirit doesn't have a plan for us. Maybe this is like as good as it gets and I coast here. But there's a plan. There is a bigger way forward. And there is a need here to connect with that. So our subconscious spirit animal message is know our worth, which I love. This is like my favorite. Know your worth. Because so often, and especially here within this reading, we have this way of talking ourselves out of our worth, out of our passion, out of our power. And that's a real disservice. So don't do that. Know your worth. There will be times where you doubt it. There will be times where you're mad as hell. There will be times where it's hard to see the reasons why. But as we start to know who we are and why we're here and what we desire, the harsh moments can have meaning in them, can have beauty in them. And that's important. That is intrinsically important, is as important as play. To be able to have our sense of humor, to be able to smile about something, to be able to look at something that absolutely, excuse my language, but sucks, and say, okay, but I see why. I see why I had to walk through this. And it might be that we see why, years down the road. That's okay. There's still a sense of the plot being built and us moving forward. It's kind of like when we're watching a movie or reading a book. You don't know everything right up front because there's no fun in discovery. But because we have this like omnipotent point of view when reading a book or watching a movie, we can see like, oh, but that's for this and that leads you there because we know that this person is going to be the hero. And if you don't go through this, you don't get to be the hero of your story. And that's a lot of what we face within life and a lot of the challenges we face within life, that if we can pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, if we can go after what we need, we get to be the hero. And the hero is a hard role to win. It's a hard gig to get. Now, our subconscious person message is the King of Cups. Once again, we're getting in our own way, and we have to be mindful of this. The King and the Queen of Cups. It can be an emotional relationship is really coming forward. There's a sense of I have to pour myself into it all, or else I'll never be able to achieve what I want to achieve or to get to where I want to be. And there's a place of heartbreak and pain and disappointment that comes from this. But there's also a place of, power and understanding and emotional truth that can come forward. But we have to step back just a little bit. And we have to know when we're being emotionally manipulated. And that can be harder, but just to kind of stand in our power and say, okay, I know when somebody's pushing my buttons, or I know what buttons I have, and meditating on that, like where are my weak points? So I know when somebody's, capitalizing on them. It moves us then to our subconscious chakra message, which is holistic health, which is the root chakra and one of my absolutely favorite cards, because it's saying, who am I holistically? What is my holistic truth? What do I desire from life? Where do I need to be? Who am I? But then it also says, how am I taking care of me? Am I taking care of me well? Am I supporting me well? Am I feeding myself the right way? Am I drinking plenty of water? Am I getting enough vitamin D? Nature, and, vitamin N, nature. And am I being the best version of me? Because at my root, at my core, I want to be planted in beautiful, rich soil. And I want the answer to be, yes, I am being the very best version of me. It moves us to our subconscious message to define the devil. And subconsciously, it's the Knight of Swords. It's again going in and being that warrior. Again, the knights tend to be rash. Just think of the fact that between 16 and 25, guys' insurances are through the roof because they're rash. they're rash. They don't think things through. And so here, it's that sense of, okay, don't just charge to charge. Don't just go to go. Think it through. Because when you think it through, it's the extraordinary that comes forward. You become the hero of the story. You become the knight that charges in and rescues and saves and is loved and adored. And that's what we're embracing here. That sense of I can slay the dragon. I can slay the fears that hold me back and that have crippled me. I can cut through the poison of this world and I can ascend. Ascend to finding the part of me that has been missing, to embracing the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, to embracing what I desire and need and long for. And it brings us then to our subconscious message, defining the Five of Swords. And that's the Seven of Cups. Dreams do come true. The fact that we have to fight to get there is par for the course. But it's also taking our dreams out of the safe hidey hole that we have them in and bringing them forward and saying, this gets to be a part of my life. This gets to be a part of who I am. And I get to be blessed. And I get to bring this into my waking world. It brings us then to our subconscious message for the Ten of Pentacles. And that blessing is the messenger of water. This is us as the knight, as the defender. We have the messages coming to us from the most unlikely places and spaces. Listen, the best knowledge sometimes is gotten from just the most absurd ways. You're like, oh my goodness, how did that happen? And there's a real sense of being able to defend what we love and what we want. There's always a warning of a brashness with the knights, not just to run forward, to center ourselves, to make sure that we are centered. It brings us then to our subconscious message for this whole entire reading. And that's the Seven of Wands. Choose your battles wisely, because they drain our energy. And if we fight every single battle that crosses our path, we'll, first of all, never be done fighting. We will not know peace. And it will not mean as much when we stand up for ourselves and when we stand in our power, because we will be exhausted and everybody will be expecting us to fight. So subconsciously, choose your battles wisely. All right, Scorpio. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the blessings that come. And know that when the blessings shine, people try to take us by eyes. But we'll stand in the beauty and fight for the right to accelerate our souls, to raise our energy vibration, to be the people that we want to be, and to live in a small little carving out of bliss that at times feels like we can only glimpse it, but gets to be because we focus on that bliss coming forward, that beauty coming forward, living in the light of the sun, coming forward. It gets to be part of our identity and of our souls. And that is the extraordinary. All right, take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Scorpio.